glorious Monday. It is absolutely sunshining, bursting through my kitchen this morning. Decided we had to do something zingy and fun and summery and frugal. So today we're going to do cake pops. Cake pops? Yes, cake pops. Yesterday we did some bamba cake and we trimmed off all the Madeira crumb. So this morning we're going to use up all our cake crumb. So we are doing the traditional cake pops, if I bring it over here. Cake popperoonies. So easy. Lads, I'm telling you now, you can do this in your sleep. So, yesterday's cake. So don't ever get rid of your cake crumb. Either blitz it with a food processor or use your fingers, put it into a freezer bag, shove it into the freezer. When you've enough cake crumb, knock your socks off and do your cake pops. So, starting with my trusty scales, I have, bring it back to 0. I'm going to put in about 300 grams of, now look, I'm mixing it, doesn't make any difference, 300 grams of cake crumb. This is miraculous because normally the top of cakes disappear in this house like lightning and I never get to do cake pops because it's just eaten. Okay, so we got our cake, right? So the only thing, show me the money, we're going to break up these gorgeous, fresh, delectable, yummy cake crumbs. All I'm doing is I'm squishing with my fingers. While I am going to be squishing with my fingers, I have got 90 mils of milk, 200 grams of Calabo chocolate. That's the chocolate that I use. I get it from Peter and Bake World and I get it from Vera Mika. So I will put the links up on the website because this chocolate is to die for. You can use any preferred chocolate. This is my preferred chocolate. Amazing, it'll survive this length of time in this house. So we're going to heat this cream in the microwave for just about a minute. Because we're going to make a ganache, okay? Now, the reason we're making a ganache for cake pops, the way I do my cake pops is that I like the cake pops to chill very firm. If for any reason you are taking your cake pops out of the fridge and if you use buttercream comes back to room temperature, softened, and you can lose the stability in your cake pop. So I will always use ganache. So don't ever go with your Betty Crocker mix with your buttercream. You might as well wait, get 200 grams of Belgian chocolate or chocolate, whatever you prefer, and then about 90 to 100 mils. I've used 90 today because I want it a little bit stiffer. So I am breaking this up. Now Lucy will just have a quick flick of a watermelon style that I'm doing, or that I did rather. And the reason for the watermelon is all I've done with the cake crumb is I added a squidge of red Pro Gel into the batter mix because it really won't make any difference once you have this all mixed through your colour of your cake pop if it's covered in chocolate ganache. So we have got our cake crumb, okay? So listen, cake crumb can be whatever cake crumb you have, a dash of this, a dash of that. I've only weighed it just this morning to give you a sort of an idea of what to work with. Work with whatever you have. These could be the tops of cupcakes left over. Although, who has leftover cupcakes in the house? So we have cake crumb. We are getting our milk to make our ganache. We are getting our cream to get our ganache. Now that is hot, 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 hot. You can see the steam coming up. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to pour over my chocolate callets. So chocolate drops. And I've now got a delicious chocolate soup. Give it a minute or two, not even a minute, a couple of seconds, and then give it a stir. So all I'm doing is I am stirring our chocolate. And this is your ganache. So this is what I use to create my cake pops. Now I'm not going to use all of this ganache, not on this particular demo, but for the amount of cake pop and cake crumb that I have left over, I will certainly use all this ganache. Any ganache that is not used up, put it into the fridge, let it chill completely. It goes rock solid or fudgy solid almost, and you can make chocolate truffles. So you get a double whammy. You have got cake pops and you've also got chocolate ganache truffles. I mean, lads, look at the shine. So you have now got your chocolate soup. Now, it is a little warm, So I have prepared some ganache earlier, and I'm going to put in maybe, I'm not weighing this, this is by eye, about 2 tablespoons, and we'll see how we go. Using a fork, all I'm doing, I'm not putting my hands in at the moment, because what I want is I want to mix the cake pop. As I said, it doesn't make a blind bit of colour. It doesn't make a blind bit of difference, the colour of the cake pop at the moment, because it will be coated in Belgian chocolate. So make sure we have got, now you can still see that it's a little crummy. So again, I'm going to add another, probably another tablespoon of ganache. You can never really have too much ganache, because if you have more cake crumb, you can always add to it. The worst thing you can do with a cake pop is to have a dry mix, because then it won't come together for you. Now at this stage you could dye it that red if you've a red background colour. Obviously if I was to dye that green, it would look like something you'd see in the Muppet Show. So I would stay clear unless you've got all vanilla sponge, then you could dye it with whatever colour you want. So again, I can see now that this is coming together, because if I use my fork and slightly smush it, it's staying together. So this will do nicely for our cake pops. Squeaky, 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 squeaky. Beatbox baking, beatbox baking. Now, all I'm doing is I'm going in with my hand and I'm squeezing with my hand, and you've created your first cake pop. Kaboom! Now, one of the things I like to do, which I have in the fridge, bear with me, and I'm going to take it out. Well, first of all, I get my tray. I have a silicone tray, a silicone sheet on a tray. It makes life much easier when you're working with your cake pops to take them off. But if you don't have a silicone tray, what's fantastic for cake pops is using a plastic freezer bag. And I have some of these cake pops in the fridge already chilling. One of the things you need, which is vital for your cake pops, is to make sure that the fridge is freezing ice cold when you put in your cake pops. Well, obviously a fridge is going to be cold, but you need to have your cake pops chilling for at least 30 minutes. It's with this in mind that the chilled cake pop will, once dipped in the chocolate, solidify really quickly, because the chocolate will set almost immediately with your cake pop. Now don't worry, don't lose the will to live. I'm not going to be doing the whole tray, but just to give you an idea, you can get anything from about 15 to 20 depending on the size. I like to do them sort of almost like a golf ball. Bear in mind when they're dipped in chocolate, they'll go that little bit bigger, as you can see from the melon one. That's quite a large in comparison to your cake pop. These need to go into the fridge. No oven today, lads, no oven. These will go into the fridge and they will set for about 30 minutes. So bear with me while I take out a Blue Peter moment where I have them in the fridge chilling. So one that goes out and another goes in. One-handed, very skilled. So here we have our cake balls. So the cake pops, as I mentioned, if you put them on a freezer bag, it's a nice little tip. So if you don't have a silicone, use the freezer, because then they just, lads, look, they just come off. Because sometimes if you're using parchment paper, once you remove your cake pop, you still have a little sort of tacky bit of the cake pop left. Whereas a freezer bag works wonders. 2 minutes while I wash my hands. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. It's not my birthday, lads, but I'm just washing my hands. So, another trick when it comes to cake pops. I use paper straws. So the paper straws I got these in Tesco's. I can't even remember, €3. And I also got bamboo skewers. 50 of them in a pack, €2. Okay? Now what's a handy trick is, as you can see, because I work with weddings and obviously I've got a dummy. Now this is a battered old dummy. It's just because it's great for stability. But you can use Oasis. So once you use flour Oasis, make sure you cover it with cling film, and that prevents any of the gritty bit, and then cover it with tin foil. So this little trick is that when you put your skewer, you now have a foundation of your cake pop, because the straw fits right through and stabilizes. So rather than trying to squeeze the end of your cake pop into a polystyrene or into Oasis, if you did, you'd come away with a little bit of polystyrene, or you'd have little fuzzy bits from your Oasis. No, not here. So I have melted some chocolate. I've had 200 grams of my Belgian chocolate. This is just plain chocolate, nothing added to it. I'm dipping the end of my straw, turn it upside down. So as you can see, there's a flat end and then you've that round shape. All I'm doing is I am pushing in the straw, and these are eco-friendly straws. Again, down they go. Lift up a cake pop. These are fabulous for kids to do, and push in. Now the reason you're pushing in is you want stability. You want that cake pop so you could hold it in your hand, give it a wiggle wiggle, and it's not going to go anywhere. If you just about insert it into your cake pop is going to die. Not great. Now, this is already beginning to chill. All I'm doing, these are great containers. You get 8 in a pack, 150 in deals, and they're super for kids because you can weigh out all the chocolate. You can give each child, and all I'm doing, I'm pushing the chocolate at an angle and I'm tapping off the excess. Tap, 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 tap. I've got sprinkles at the ready, and I am sprinkling my cake pop. Now the other thing as well, bear in mind, if you were to get a cake pop, they roughly work out about they can be 150 to €2. Don't forget, it's not the cake pop that's costing 150, €2. It's the time to make them. So this is where sometimes when people say, oh, sure, there's less leftover cake. Well, you don't really have leftover chocolate. You have to buy your calabo, you have to buy your straws, you have to buy your preparation, you have to buy your sprinkles. So you've also got your ganache filling with your cake pop. So they do work out cost effective if you make your own. Just bear in mind, professionals, when they do them, they do charge. So look at this sprinkle rainbow. And again, we have our wooden skewer pushed in, slide down, and in they go. And I have done the same with my white chocolate. And to remove them, you've got a plain white chocolate. Now the reason for the plain white chocolate, I'm going to go a ziggy 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 and put some sprinkles and chocolate zigzags on that. But the other thing too is that if you've got small kids and if you don't particularly want to give them the cake pop to nibble on, or if you want to serve it to a posh do, you can take off your cake pop by getting a fork and just sliding it off. It normally does come off. Facebook Live, lads, Facebook Live. And you have got a little cake ball without the straw. So if you're worried about, normally the wider fork, I had my wider fork, but lads can't find it now. That's the story of my life. So you have got, just bear in mind, cold cake pops. They have to be cold. Dip them into chocolate. You can control what's going into these cake pops. You can obviously make them gluten-free, because if you've made your cake gluten-free, the cake crumbs are also gluten-free. Then you've got your calabo chocolate, dippity dip, do-da-day, all day long on a Monday. Who doesn't love cake pops? Yummy! And then you sprinkle, 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 sprinkle. One of the things I found when I'm doing something novelty is to get the white layer with your melon. You would dip your cake pop in white chocolate, and then you would dip it in green chocolate. And how I dye my chocolate is I use a green food paste. It's a gel. So if you're ever using chocolate and trying to colour it with a gel, not a liquid, but with a gel. The gel will absorb through the chocolate, and this is where you can have fun with your cake pops. So today, lads, that is it in a nutshell. Magic little cake pops with a few tricks up my sleeve. So you've got polystyrene, you've got your wooden skewers, they'll help dry. If you want a flat bottom, obviously you can do your cake pop, and just like that, if you don't have anything, hold on, I get another straw. if you want your cake pop. And if you don't want it standing up, dip your cake pop. Have it all ready, zappity-doo-dah, zappity-day. Move our cake pops off the plastic. This is a dream to remove the cake pops when you've got a plastic bag and you can sit it like so. So you've got your cake pop upside down. So you can either have it upside down or you can have them standing up with your skewers and your bamboo sticks, but that's cake pops using yesterday's Battenberg cake crumbs. Roll them out, get cracking, and I shall see you tomorrow at 10.